World famous actor Joe Gannascoli joins us right now. You may recognize him formerly as Vito Spatafor from The Sopranos. And Joe Gannascoli is doing amazing things here in New York. Hey, Joe, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Johnny, how are you? You got the last name right the second time. Good job.
Gannascoli.
Gannascoli, you got it, buddy.
That's what I thought. Sorry about that. So,
That's up.
Joe, we all know, that us wise guys from New York get a bad rap sometime. Most of us are really hardworking guys, but people just assume the stereotype. You actually had a real understanding of the street before you became the great actor that you were, and harnessed that in The Sopranos. And you're still beating the streets these days, talking to the regular people and bringing them food. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm a Brooklyn guy. I live in Long Island now, but you see a lot of things when you're growing up, and you know which way you want to go. And I didn't go that way, and I've been trying to help people in hospitals and police departments, fire departments, so on and so forth. Post offices, sanitation. I was a chef, so I started a GoFundMe and wanted to help the restaurants in my neighborhood and buy food from them and take it to as many hospitals and places that I could.
So, Joe, there's nothing like some good old-fashioned Italian home cooking. Everybody knows that. The one lucky thing that happened for me, now that I'm in quarantine, I live in Staten Island, New York, but I live next door to my mother. So instead of eating in restaurants every night, the one win for me is I got Mom bringing me over a full meal every single night. So I'm gaining weight like mad. What are you doing with your GoFundMe? And can you give us the website for your GoFundMe so you can keep up this great work?
Well, they can put my name, Joseph Gannascoli, in the search in GoFundMe, or go to Twitter or my Facebook. I had the links up on many of my posts. I always chronicle all the stops that I make, sometimes 2 or 3 a day. I take the post office breakfast, and usually a hospital at 2, or sometimes late at 8 o'clock dinner shift, and even late 11 o'clock for the overnight shift. But I've done about 100 deliveries so far. And I want to keep going for the month of May. I started with a goal of $1,000. My sister-in-law works at Labor and Delivery at South Nassau, and my niece works in Jacoby in the Bronx. And she got the virus. She got better. She's back working. She's not a nurse. She runs a department. So that started me of wanting to get them a good dinner or lunch. And word of mouth spread, and people asked me if I could come to them. And so I never said no. And it went from 1,000 to 2,500 to 5,000, 10,000, 15, 25. And I went over the 25,000 mark. Now it's at 50. So I did about 25 in a month. If I could do it for the month of June, whether I bring them food or buy gift certificates to restaurants so they can go on their own. The fire departments are not all in the firehouse. In Long Island, still it's volunteer, so they got to go when they can. So that's what I've been doing. I can go to Twitter, Facebook, or put my name, Joe Gannascoli, Joseph Gannascoli, in the search at GoFundMe.
Joe, so I see random acts of goodness happening all over the place now. People don't realize, the nurses and the doctors and the EMTs, they're getting paid, they're getting their salary. But people don't realize their kids are home from school. They got to get a babysitter. They got to get some help. They still got to commute back and forth to work when regular people aren't paying for gas. So it's not like they need the money, but every single little thing you could do them, buy them a meal, give them a gift card to Starbucks. It just saves a few dollars in their pocket to take care of themselves. And sometimes the stress of it is just as bad as what they're going through in the hospital. And you must be bringing smiles to a lot of faces, Joe.
I am. They're so grateful. And usually about 6, 7, 8 doctors come out because they're Soprano fans. And we do a little selfie. They're way back at me. Everybody's 6 feet apart. And we all take pictures. And, if you could save someone the trip of working, and it's really tough on them. I mean, what they're seeing in the hospitals, and then to bother with cooking or having to go shopping. If I give them a gift certificate, they can pick up food, or if there's food left over, they can take it home. If they don't have a family, they're living alone. There's plenty of food that I take. It's usually for 150 in a department, or 7 departments, I should say. If it's 40 or 50 in a department, I bring food for 60, 70. The restaurants have been really good. I use one in East Rockaway called Villa Maria, another good friend of mine, Vincent's Clam Bar and Call Place. But mostly it's in East Rockaway and Oceanside, Long Island. Greek restaurant, Mexican, pizzerias, wherever I can, delis. They make big, huge antipastas. The Seven Brothers, La Fabrita. All these places have helped me tremendously.
So, Joe, are you? And I would assume the way you're doing it is you're helping two people here, because you're going to local business owners, right? And you're buying the food, and then you're bringing it to local people in the hospitals and stuff. So you're actually killing two birds with one stone by helping keep some smaller guys in business right now, and at the same time lightening the load for the workers.
And that was the whole idea, because, like I said, I was a chef, and so obviously I have an affinity for restaurants, and I know what it is to, like, we go through a blizzard and business is down for, a week, 10 days, a flood, nothing like this. So some of them have closed. They might not ever reopen. And the ones that are open are struggling because they laid off people. And so, I pumped in some money to them. It helps. They've done some takeout, but nothing like they were doing when they had in-house and deliveries and takeout. And hopefully they can get through with it, maybe with the stimulus and the help that the government's providing, they'll be able to survive.
So, hey, Joe, nobody knows this better than you, being a former chef, that a lot of these restaurants, especially in like major, metropolitan areas, 25% occupancy sounds okay. Like, okay, you can open and get a few dollars, but most of these places need to turn over these tabletops like 2 times in a night at 100% to really be making any money. Do you think we're going to see the death of a lot of small restaurants?
I do. I don't know if they're going to be able to recover. I mean, some weren't able to open up and do that kind of business, 25%. I don't know how they're going to open. I really don't. It's going to be sad. So many businesses are going out, because everything's almost internet, so you see a lot of empty storefronts. Now you're going to head by restaurants. It's going to be a weird year coming.
Yeah, it sure doesn't. It sure doesn't seem like, okay, we get through the summer and reopen and everything's good. There's still a lot of warnings out there about the fall. There could be a second wave. So even if they open them, I think most restaurants and small places, boutique type places, they still got to worry about the demand being there. Yeah, we're allowed to go, but do people really want to go stand next to each other in a bar when everybody's getting so accustomed to having a few drinks at home these days?
And think about all the places that waited all winter, the seasonal places, like the Jersey Shore and the Hamptons. Well, the Hamptons, they got money, but the people on Jersey Shore,
Yeah.
the working guys that rely on it, and all the families that went there, and people that work the rides, the amusements, and those restaurants and bars, that's going to be tough. I mean, I take my family out to Jersey Shore once a year for a week. We were going to the Dominican. That's been canceled. Dominican 2 years in a row now, they're taking a hit. I don't know how those people are surviving. It's rough all around. And the funny thing is, John, is that just yesterday, it's so funny how life is. I have an 104-year-old aunt. She got corona, and she beat it. She's coming home.
Wow, amazing.
Is that something or what?
God bless. Joe, thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate it. You're the bomb. And, if you get out to Staten Island, come by one day and join us for a real liquid lunch.
You know what? I did. I brought to the EMT drivers at Staten Island University. Had I known I would have said hello.
All
I
right.
would have bought you some for you, Dell.
All right. Thank you very much. That's Joe Gannascoli.